Welcome to the show. I'm so very happy to introduce our guest for today, Kat Parvin. Kat is a transracial adoptive mom through foster care, and I'm really happy to talk to you today. Thanks, Kat, for coming.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Can you tell me how your foster care journey began? What brought you to foster care?
I've always wanted to be a foster parent since I was probably a teenager. I had a lot of friends that kind of had some rough upbringing, and they would always stay the night at my mom's house with us. And I kind of just felt like it was something I wanted to do.
hmm Okay. So when you first started having foster kids in your home as a kid, when you were a kid, how old were you? Was it like as long as you can remember, you always had there were always foster children there?
They weren't exactly foster kids. They were just friends of mine that maybe their parents weren't around for a couple days, and they would just end up at our house. So it was really
Gotcha.
informal. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah. When I was in high school, one of my really good friends came to live with us for like the whole half of senior year, of like the last half of senior year, because she got kicked out of her house. And so she just lived with us. So, yeah, maybe a similar kind of
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Indiana. My husband and I and our family, we just moved back. It's a small town called Brazil, Indiana. We just moved back there in January. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
How's that feel?
it's strange being back there. I've been in Terre Haute, which is only 20 minutes away for the past 10 years or so, but um, I've moved different states. I grew up between Indiana and Connecticut where my dad had lived, so I've kind of moved around a lot and
hmm
just decided, we'd end up here. So,
Right on. Yeah, I moved back to the Hudson Valley of New York, where I grew up after being in LA for 20 years. So I know what that's like too, coming
yeah.
back to a place. And it actually feels pretty good to be here. I'm not exactly in the same town that I was in, but just
Yeah.
in the area. So yeah. So tell me about your family. How many children do you have, and how did they come to you?
Okay, so my youngest two, Peregrine is 3.5, Calliope is 5.5, and then my next child, Lillian, she's 8.5, and Lillian is from a previous marriage, so we have a blended family. And then our oldest daughter, Manician, she goes by Mo, and she is just about to turn 14.
Okay. And was she also is she an adopted daughter
Oh yeah,
or okay. So you have one biological child and then you have three children that are adopted.
we have three biological and one adopted.
Oh, three biological and one adopted. Got it. Okay. So tell me how did you decide to do foster care?
Yeah, so my husband and I, back when we were dating before we were married, we kind of talked about it just because it's something I was interested in.
hmm
In my previous marriage, my ex-husband, Lillian's dad and I, we fostered briefly. Um, and then when he and I got divorced, I stopped fostering. But then a few years later, when I got remarried, then we kind of just decided we were done having our biological children, and maybe it would be a good time to start fostering. So we, did the whole process, all the classes, the home studies, and everything last year,
hmm
and got our first placements in August.
hmm And how how has it how was it for your biological children? What did they think of it? Were they involved in the decision at all? How has it been?
Yeah, so the two littles, they're kind of just down for whatever. They like people, so
Yeah.
they like having more people in the house. Lillian was okay with it. Again, she's 8.5, but she specifically wanted a brother, and I said we don't really get to pick. it's kind of just, like whatever the need will be. Um, but they've been pretty good with it.
Okay, great. And so how old was the child when they were placed with you?
Our first placement was 16, and then a week later we got Manician, who was 13.
Okay. Okay. And then the 16-year-old didn't stay or
No, she left in February, and then a Mo's our story with Mo is actually like relatively smooth going. We got her in August, and by February, our attorney filed for a petition to adopt.
mm,
The TPR was already completed before she came into our home.
mm-hmm.
Um, and so they basically, DCS was on board, the CASA was on board, and they just set the hearing for April 10th, and the rest is history.
Wow. And then you just adopted on April 10th.
Yep.
Wow. That is incredibly fast. That's
Yeah.
really wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
How has it been having a teenager come to you, as a teenager? And I'm assuming so she's the oldest now in
Mhm.
the family. Um, it's interesting because a lot of people advocate for keeping birth order. And so I'm curious about your thoughts about that and how that has affected your family dynamic.
I didn't really get super into the birth order thing. I did actually recently listen to your podcast on that. Um, we already had littles, and as you know, that's a lot of work. So,
Yeah.
I mean, teenagers are in their own way, but we kind of really had a heart for an older child, and the all of our kids seem to get on really well with older kids. So,
hmm
we thought we would, give it a shot and see if that worked out.
And again, I'm not saying that it's like wrong or anything like that. I just am always curious about like what goes into the decision and just about hearing from people who have done it differently and like, hey, it's working for us. So yeah, I'm not like saying that you should keep the birth order. Just that a lot of people advocate for that, like the show that you listen to. Um, and if any listeners are wondering that I did a show, a couple of, I would say it's probably about 4 shows back, maybe, uh, from this one that is all about birth order and how that could potentially affect your family. Um,
It was definitely
so
interesting. I
yeah,
think
I'm curious what you like. Did anything that he said resonate with you? Like now that you're like seeing it?
a little bit. I think I don't know that he hit on it too much, but I think that having all girls kind of helped with it too.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like they kind of look up to her, and like they're like, oh, she's cool. She's a cool little girl.
Yes.
Um, but I was trying to kind of figure out how Mo would fit in because she's 5 years older than Lillian. She's much older than
Uh-huh.
the other ones. So she's kind of an
Right.
only and an oldest. Um,
Right.
and then Lillian is at her dad's half the time. So sometimes, and there she's the youngest child. So things are very different for her
Right.
between houses. But my baby is definitely the baby of the family.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's wild to and we won't take up too much time talking about it in case the listeners did not listen to that episode, but it's kind of wild to get into all the nuance, particularly with blended families about how that changes things.
Yeah.
Um, Getting back to my other question about just the teenage thing, a lot of people have reservations about like bringing a teenager in. I know a lot of people have also done it very successfully, but just wondering what that was like. What was it more difficult, do you think? Was it, how has it been?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So she came from about 3.5 hours away, and we just had, I had talked to her previous foster mom, who we're all still really close with. They're a great support. I talked with her quite a bit. I had one video call with Mo, and that was it before she came. Um,
Hmm.
but she's 13, so she's kind of like right at that cusp of becoming a teenager, and
Yeah.
she likes teenager things, air quotes. But she's she's still a little bit of a kid, but she's very mature in some ways at the same time.
Hmm.
And she does have some emotional needs. Um, there's there's some kind of blow ups and anger, but it's
Hmm.
fortunately nothing crazy. When people are in our house, they say, "Yeah, that sounds like they're sisters." That's the stuff staring at me. But it's been really great actually. I feel that I can talk to her and involve her in like family decisions and household decisions,
Hmm.
uh, which I try to do as much as possible because she's not a little child, and she can
Right.
give her input, and so I think that she feels valued in that.
Sure. And so she had to, if she was coming from 3.5 hours away, she obviously had to change schools and all of that.
Mhm.
How was that transition? And did you already have familiarity with the school that she attended?
No, so I didn't have anyone who attended there. I do have a friend who's a teacher at that school.
Hmm.
But she had a hard time there. Like I mentioned, we are from a small rural area, um, a very red area, and um, there's a lot of, I'd say, pervasive racism around. And so
Hmm.
she's had some issues at her old school. And then when we moved to Brazil a couple months later, because we moved just in January,
Hmm.
uh, there are even fewer Black peers for her.
Hmm.
Um, she's made a lot of really good girlfriends, which is nice. Um, and she has some friends who are biracial, but she still has commented to me. She says, I'm the only black student here.
Hmm.
And there have been incidents with that repeatedly with boys in her grade. So she's doing really well at the
Hmm.
academic portion, and she joined some sports teams. And she seems really happy with her girlfriends, but there is that pretty consistent bullying as well.
Oh man, that's so rough. Kat and I met, for the listeners, online, sort of bonding online about transracial adoption. And Kat had this cool post about all the books that she was reading and like educating herself as a white parent of a black child. And I have read some of those books, and other ones are on the list for sure. And I just admired so much your commitment to educating yourself. I'm wondering how that education is going. Does your husband share that also with you? Is he also doing that work, or is it just you? And how has it changed your perspective?
Oh, good questions. So I would kind of start from the very beginning. I grew up in this area, but my mom is a sociologist. She's a college professor at St. Mary of the Woods College. And so I kind of grew up with learning some of this knowledge, going to classes with my mom, and it's just that's her passion. It has kind of become my passion. Um, so some of the books were already kind of on my to read list, but I will say that having Mo in our home definitely like promulgated me to, get to them, get to some of these
Hmm.
books a little more quickly.
Yep.
Um, and I would say some of them were recommended specifically for transracial adoption. Excuse me. Some were just books I had on my list, like How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram Kendi. Um,
Hmm.
I joined this online group called Culturally Fluent Families. And rather quickly, I kind of made the mistake of posting, hey, it's adoption day. We just adopted my beautiful daughter with a picture of our family. And it kind of snowballed with all the comments about how I should not have adopted a Black child. So,
Aha. Yes.
yeah.
Back up one moment because you did freeze a little bit earlier, and I just want to make sure we get the name of that of the Facebook group. I think it's a Facebook group, is it?
Yes,
Okay, can you just
culturally,
say that again? What it was called?
yeah, culturally fluent families.
Culturally fluent families. Okay. So you posted and didn't really think about it, and then you received all this backlash.
Yes. Um, while I've tried to be an educated person about race and the status of that in our society, um, what I had not experienced with is the actual adoption and transracial adoption.
Hmm.
Um, and several people were like, "You should have thought of this beforehand," things like that. And
Hmm.
it was kind of a slap in the face, but I mean, there was some very constructive criticism. And, there were, it's just shocking that it's not really a requirement um, to have more training on transracial adoption.
Yeah.
Because even in our homogenous, very white area, there, there was a black child. So I just, it floors me that there wasn't required training on that and recommended reading.
Yeah, I have a question about that. And it's probably because we did our fostering and adoption in Los Angeles, and it was
Hmm.
very much a part of the conversation from the very beginning of our training was, if you are saying that you are willing to adopt a child of a different ethnicity than you, how are you going to support that child? Do you have a friend group that represents them? Do you what is the makeup of your neighborhood, the school, all of the stuff that made us really think a lot about that. And what I'm hearing you say is that there wasn't really that kind of training or support up front. They didn't discuss that aspect. It was kind of just
Yeah.
like, did they ask you if you were open to different races, and then you just kind of were like, yeah, of course, and then that was it?
Yeah. So, yeah, we kind of were just like, whatever the need is.
Yep.
And they did ask, and they being Mo's care team, the whole team, we had, some conference calls. Um, they did ask a little bit about how we would, try to support her,
Hmm.
but it was very, very like general answers, like we want to, visit Black churches, for example. Although we do have a home church that we're members at, we're deacons at, and our church is largely a white congregation,
Hmm.
um, but it does have aspects of social justice. It has a social
Hmm.
justice club, um, but really, I mean, it's kind of like, yes, I have some Black friends. They don't all live around here, so
Right.
I don't know how, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
useful that is. It's
Right. So how are you handling it? Because where you live is this area it's just not a diverse area, it sounds
Yeah.
like. How can you handle this? What do you do?
Well, I'm struggling to be completely honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But the number one thing that we've actually successfully been able to do is make sure that Mo has a Black hairstylist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. I have been researching different things. There's a program in Indianapolis, and it's the Delta Gems. So it's a sorority, and it's a program for Black high school girls, and it's something that they have to apply for. So in the fall, I've talked to Mo about it, and she said that she was interested, so she's going to apply for that in the fall. And
Mm-hmm.
um, and so if that goes through, then she will be going. We'll take her to Indy once a month for them to meet and um, you know prepare for college and things like that. Um, Otherwise, my mentor from law school, her name is Keisha, and she is an attorney and she's a magistrate in the Dayton, Ohio area. And so Mo and I are going to take a little day or two trip to kind of job shadow her and see, her professional life, and then, stay the night with her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I've learned that there's something called the Black Expo also in Indianapolis, and they do a summer celebration with a ton of Black owned businesses. There's a modeling show, which I'm excited to take Mo to because she's into modeling and things like that. And just a bunch of different activities. So I've been trying to keep my eyes peeled for things like that. We do have to travel a little bit, it's about an hour to get to Indianapolis. Um, but I know that there's more available. Like the community around here is good. So I'm kind of trying to reach out to people and see if there's any kind of mentor group or just a group
Mm-hmm.
of peers or things like that that she could spend some time with too.
Yeah. Yeah, good. I mean, it's great that you're doing what you can. Going back to that moment when you weren't expecting that kind of response when you said that you were had adopted, you were happy and excited and joyful, I'm sure. And to receive that kind of backlash, like just take me back to that and how did you handle that and reconcile that?
Um, I was really upset. I didn't cry, but I was just taken aback. A part of me could understand, like, we didn't make a huge deal out of adoption day. Um, I did let Lillian and Mo stay home from school, and then we had a nice, lunch after. But part of me, recognizes that while we are very excited for the adoption day, and I think Mo was excited to be out of the foster system for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but the fact that adoption means loss, it just does. And so, that was something they kind of brought up in the group too. Um, so the Facebook group, though, they have courses that you can pay for about different things. And I did sign up for one regarding racial identity development. So I've kind of started that, and I think it's like a self-paced class that you
Mm-hmm.
get a booklet and kind of go through that. So I've been doing that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I just haven't, otherwise, I haven't commented. I've more so just listened and read through things,
Mm-hmm.
um, both as a white person and also as like an adoptive mom,
Mm-hmm.
trying to focus more on adoptees' voices and Black voices or people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just also, I've talked with some trusted friends about the situation, and I talked to Mo's last foster mom, and she's a Black woman as well, and so everyone has their opinions on it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I think getting a wide range of trusted opinions has kind of helped me deal with it. But I have guilt. I probably have white guilt, but I also
Mm.
just have guilt surrounding not being more prepared ahead of time. But
Mm-hmm.
guilt's not productive. So that's why I decided I have my notebooks I keep. So I've been taking notes and trying to research more and things like that. And
Right.
yeah, and I try to talk to Mo about race, and sometimes she just rolls her eyes at me and she's like, I knew I was going to a white family. I had some say. I knew what I signed up for. That's what she told me. I said,
Okay.
and I told her, I said, I know that, but um, I always want to talk when she's like, why are you reading all those books? I said,
Mm.
I'm just trying to learn. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I actually gave her a copy of How to Be an Anti-Racist just because I thought it was so good. She said,
Mm.
I don't need to read this. I said, you don't have to, but it's
Yeah.
available.
Yeah. Kind of like the puberty book that I gave my kid. She's like, I'm too young for this. I was like, okay, well, it's here. It's here if you feel like you're interested and you want to know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what we don't know, right? And so we can't, you were doing the best you could. And the reality is, I mean, there's also the reality that like, had you not adopted her, somebody else who's not as like willing to check their privilege and look at their whiteness and do all of the work might have adopted her, and that might have even been worse. So like in those areas, I know a lot of people are super against like transracial adoption, but I've also heard it brought up in those forums, and I agree. It's like, well, I mean, if it's a super white area and there aren't a lot of black foster families or
Mhm.
willing to adopt or whatever it is, able to adopt, then what's the alternative? So
Right. That's a
there's
good point.
also that, you know?
Yeah. 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 That's a good point.
Yeah.
I know that she probably would hate me talking about it, but I mean, she'd been in foster care for, I don't know, like 4 years maybe, and
Hmm.
I think we were her seventh home. So I just, you
Wow.
know, um, I don't know, the first time I saw her picture, it really spoke to me, and um, I just, I was like, we'll give it a shot, but it's funny because her personality is really quirky and silly, and she makes a lot of jokes. And one of my childhood friends was over and said, "She's just like you when you were little." And I
Yeah.
told her, and I just started laughing. And I thought, that's kind of true. We are kind of similar, but
Uh-huh. Yeah. I love that. I always find I had an acupuncturist tell me this so long ago when I was trying to get pregnant naturally, like a million years ago. And she was like, somehow everyone ends up with the right kid. Like everyone ends up with the right child. And I just, there is something to be said for that sort of magical thing that just happens that fits. I feel like, and maybe that is just a function of, them being in your family and you forming that bond and that just happens. But I do think like my kids the same, like they're just so like perfectly
yeah,
perfect for us in our family. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mo fits in wonderfully, and it does feel like it was meant to be.
Hmm. How is your husband handling the race piece?
Um, So he acknowledges it, and he listens when she talks about things at school, although she does talk to me about that stuff more often. Um,
Hmm.
I tend to consume books very quickly. It's probably like my
Hmm.
only hobby. So he hasn't read all the books, but he lets me I talk to him about the books and different things,
Hmm.
or some of them I do audiobooks. So if he and I are together,
Hmm.
I'll sometimes turn them on and he'll listen, and we have
Hmm.
some discussion about it. So um, he's definitely not colorblind, and
Yeah.
he understands his male white privilege. Um, I think it's tough for him though because I can um, empathize with being bullied, as I was bullied a lot. I don't He is has a thicker skin and kind of lets things roll off of him.
Hmm.
So his
Hmm.
attitude is kind of more like, well, we've got to find ways to cope with it and deal with it because it keeps happening.
Mm.
Um, so I kind of feel like between the two of us, she gets some good advice.
Hmm. How is the school responding to the bullying?
Oh, well, one time I called, and it's hard sometimes to drag the information out of Mo,
Hmm.
because sometimes when parents get involved, then they've called her a snitch and things like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
talked to
Hmm.
the Yeah, so I talked to the dean of the school once, and they said that they would handle it. I think the kid got
Hmm.
like a lunch detention, um, which I don't think is appropriate, but that's my
Hmm.
opinion. And then otherwise, there was a video that happened outside of school. So even though she was upset about it while she was at school, they said, they couldn't really do anything about it because it didn't happen at school.
Mm.
Um, I I've talked with them some, and they're like, she has to report it. So
Mm.
that's been the big struggle. Is
Hmm.
she's like, I don't
Hmm.
want to report it all the time, and I said, honestly, you shouldn't have to, but
Right.
I told her that she should because they record it at least, And if it's the same kids, and there's
Hmm.
multiple incidents, then it should be more than something like a lunch detention.
Hmm. Yeah. Is it's verbal abuse or
Mm.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, you would think they would have some that they would be addressing it even on a school level like a this is our community and we need to address this. But yeah, I guess they have their curriculum and their things that and they're not prioritizing that type of thing.
yeah. And part of me wants to say, you need to have a school assembly. Somebody
Hmm.
needs to address some of this. Um, I don't know what all training teachers have to go through and admin as far as like
Hmm.
sensitivity training and things like that.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I mean, and then a part of me is, the last day of school is tomorrow, so she'll be going on
Right.
to the high school.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
but she doesn't even, half of her doesn't. She's like, I kind of want to homeschool. She really wants me to look into it because she's like, she already has, like, she has an IEP for emotional things.
Hmm.
And so and I told her this, I said, you've been really good at handling it. Again, not that you should have to by any means,
Right. Yeah.
but but at controlling her anger and things, I mean, she's done a remarkable job.
Hmm.
Um, but she kind of wants to homeschool, and so I need to research all that.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but it's been tough, and then trying to find people's parents. Basically, I like hunt people down on Facebook and say, hey, our kids go to school together, and your kid is saying racist stuff to my daughter, and
Hmm.
that doesn't it doesn't make warm and fuzzies for people. So that's not been
Good for
fun.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How are they? Are they responding well to that, or are they?
I think most of the parents have said things like, we absolutely don't tolerate that, and
Hmm.
we don't speak that way. Like, we'll talk to them. One
Hmm.
child, I think their parent probably made them. They wrote an apology and made it into a video and sent it to Mo, an apology video.
All right.
Um, and it's something, I guess.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
one dad that was pretty defensive, um, but I kind of just stuck to it and said, yeah, but it's racist. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't it's so interesting that like how your perspective changes when you have a child,
Hmm.
a black child. It's just, you can go through life like completely unaware as a white person and just be like, oh no, it's pretty much like there's not really a lot of racism around or like, you know what I mean? And you could just be in that bubble. But when your child is right there in front of you, I mean, suddenly you just see everything from such a different lens.
Totally,
Um,
totally agree.
even
I think
just go ahead.
I was gonna say, it makes me like question it. I'm pretty outspoken. Um, Even when it scares me, I've been an outspoken person, but it does make me wonder, like, how many times have I been complicit and just not even
Yeah.
realized it?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And for all those kids at school, I mean, what a learning opportunity is there for someone to come in and address this and talk about that, talk about being quiet, being silent, and how that's being complicit as well, and all
Hmm.
of that stuff. I'm assuming her girlfriends are white. Do they stick
Yeah.
up for her? Do they?
Most of them are white. She does have a couple. She has three, I think, kind of close friends that are biracial, and
Mhm.
have um, I speak pretty frequently to one of their moms, um, and a little bit to one of the other moms, and but it's shown me that Mo's not the only one that the kids have been
Mm.
bothering and have said things to,
Mhm.
um, and it's just I think that they kind of stick up for her, but I told her, I said, if your friends just sit there, like, that's not okay either. I
Mm-hmm.
know, I
Mm-hmm.
know no one wants to be confrontational, and I know everyone wants to just kind of appease everybody and have some harmony, but that's not okay either.
Yeah.
Um, it's everybody's responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does she have any contact with her birth family at all?
No, so the situation, she didn't really have contact with her birth father, and then her birth mother, it was a little bit of a dangerous situation, and so they don't have contact. Um, but I, Mo has some social media, and I think her mom, she told me her mom like tried to contact her, and she just blocked her. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but we do know like who, since she was older when she came into foster care, she really knows her mom and everything. So
Right.
um
Okay.
yeah, so you know maybe when she's older, um it might be appropriate at that point for them to maybe have a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Right now
Mm-hmm.
it's just not safe.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Um, what will you do? What will she do for the summer? What are your summer plans for her? Is there camp? Is there what happens in the summer?
This will be our first summer really, so we
Mm-hmm.
are, 1 week she's going to like a sleepaway camp in upstate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for her, and she's like, I can't have my phone for a week. But I think she'll have. She's like, I don't have any friends there, and I said that's half the point of camp is meeting new people. But
Mm-hmm.
it it was suggested to me by one of my friends. Her kids go there, and she said it's much more diverse, and so
Mm-hmm.
that might be something good for her. So we're gonna try that
Right.
out. And then she's hoping that we can find some kind of basketball related things to do
Mm-hmm.
because she
Good.
wants to
Yeah.
improve.
I had a very, very good friend of mine is black, and she grew up in Rhode Island and said that she really was not around black people at all, except for the summers, because she went to, and that's I think why it just dawned on me to ask that question, because she went to a camp that was pretty much all black, and so every summer she's like, that's how I basically learned how to be black, like in my summer camp experience until she was a teenager, and then they moved. But yeah, it's just finding those opportunities. I think can be
Hmm.
really valuable. There's also, this is something that I really want to do, and we just haven't been able to afford it yet, and hopefully we will. There's these transracial adoption camps. Have you heard of those? Like PACT is one of them.
A little bit.
Um,
I need to do some more research.
and they just sound like really great. It's for the whole family. And you all go, and no matter what age the kids are, I think over two, maybe two is like like you can't bring a baby or something. I can't remember
Hmm.
what that is, but it's basically for the whole camp, for the whole family to sort of, they go with their peers, the people that are their age, and they are all from transracially adopted families, so they get to like hash all that out and talk about it. And I think it's a great opportunity, and I know they do have some scholarships and that kind of thing too. So
Wow.
yeah, it's worth looking into for sure. I can link to it in the show notes.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That sounds like fun and
Mm-hmm.
cool. Yeah.
Right. What are some of the books that you've read so far that have made the most profound impact on you?
Yeah, so I would say I wrote them down somewhere. Some of them. Well, I'm reading this called Do Right by Me, and it's
Okay.
by Valerie Harrison and Catherine Peach D'Angelo. I'm
Okay.
just kind of about 20% through it, I'd say. And it's
Mm-hmm.
learning to raise Black kids in white spaces. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty good so far.
Okay.
And then um, I was just kind of blanked out. Well, I have a note in here. The Angela Tucker book is really good, and I can email you
Yeah.
the names. I like put it. I had it on a Word document, but my
I
computer
would,
left.
yeah, I would love that, because I would love to link to that and share those resources for other families who are looking for that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
then this book doesn't specifically have to do with transracial adoption, but I think it's very important. I think it's important for anyone is why are all the black kids sitting together in the cafeteria? And that
Mm.
book was actually written, I think, 20 years ago, but I actually listened to it on audiobook, and so it had the updated forward and everything, which is actually really
Mm.
important to the book. So
Right.
um, it's really good. It's
Oh,
really good.
great. I'm an audiobook listener too. I'm an audiobook narrator, so but I listen too. I love listening. So yeah, I will check that out for sure. And as I said, we'll link to those resources.
Yeah, there there's a lot in audiobook actually. This Do Right by Me is one I could not find on
Okay.
there. So I bought the paper copy, so it'll take me a little longer to read, but
Right.
um, so yeah, and the Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria? The author is Tatum. Um, and that's just it's really good. And
Okay. Great.
yeah, and I'll shoot you an email because I have like a
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
What has surprised you about your journey so far in with foster care and adoption? Besides, obviously, the racial piece was, which was a surprise, it sounds like.
Yes, a little bit of a surprise there. Um, we had with the foster journey, I kind of had a clue of what it was like because I'd done it previously, but just for a bit. The
Mm,
second go around, we went through an agency, and I thought, this is recommended. Everybody says to use an agency.
mm,
Um, but some of it was helpful, but some of it was just kind of like double time with having more people in the house
yes.
and
More social work visits and yeah. Yep.
because they would have to for one child she had to come twice a week even.
Mm,
Um, and then you got to be prepared for the services which are time consuming. Just we were really fortunate for Mo's. She had life skills coaching and she had a therapist that both did home visits, so we were really lucky
mm-hmm.
that they were able to do that.
Yeah.
But it's a hard thing to swallow that like not every kid is going to fit. Our first placement we ended up disrupting in February. Um, she was 16 and I have love for her. But yeah, it was not a good fit for our home,
Mm-hmm.
the whole situation. And so it was surprising. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just like I have mental health issues. And so I kind of take that as a learning tool, my
Mm-hmm.
experience, and think, oh, I can help other people and the kids that might have similar issues, but that's not always the case. So
Right.
sometimes they need more
Yeah.
help than I can give.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was your decision to disrupt that placement.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. And was it, how did your family react or respond to it? What did it, was it, had it been impacting your biological family in a way that you were like, I have to change this right now? Or I'm just curious. I think it's helpful sometimes for listeners, even though it's painful, it's
Mhm.
helpful for people to listen to the process, the decision making process, and what went into it, and um, in case they're experiencing something similar.
Yeah. So like I've mentioned, I do have littles, and
Yeah.
they were kind of attached to her, but um, she started cutting a bunch more
Hmm.
and a couple of times overdosed on medication. And the final time, the I was on an airplane and got the call from
Hmm.
the nanny, and it was
Hmm.
just a regular morning that she was supposed to get up and go to school. And long story short, like the police and the ambulance had to come, and my littles were
Hmm.
there, and that kind of thing
Hmm.
is just scary for them. And
Yeah, absolutely.
it got to be too, my husband and I both work full time, so
Yeah.
she was someone who needed 24/7 supervision. So,
Yep.
and she would sometimes skip school. And then one day I just had to call the agency and say, someone's going to have to go there because I cannot miss any more work.
Right.
Um, and that's, that's kind of the reality of it. It's, it might be, I don't want to say easy because it's never easy, but it might
Right.
be, beneficial. I think that's why there's probably a lot of homes where there is a stay-at-home parent or
Mm-hmm.
a retiree, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think those are good things to ask about
Mm-hmm.
whenever you might be receiving a child into your home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's difficult because a lot of people that I've talked to when they've had those like more extreme situations, usually with teenagers, which is understandable for sure, they weren't necessarily given a heads up ahead of time about how deep the issues were or potential problems or anything like that. And I can see in the one case, it's like, well, they're trying to place this child and they want to, they need a home for this child. But on the other hand, it's like to hold information back is not ethical either. Did you feel that you were prepared? Like, did you understand, um, much about her when you brought her into the home, or was it sort of like, oh wow, this is like way beyond what we were prepared to deal with?
It was yes and no. I mean, they told us that she had been moved for suicidal ideation. Um,
Hmm.
at the same time, it kind of sounded like it maybe had been a one-off situation where not so recurring.
Hmm.
Um, and and I talked to her previous foster parent as well, and she said, "Oh, she wouldn't pull that here, and I wouldn't let her miss school." And I'm thinking, like I'm pretty like laissez-faire with my kids, and I mean, I make them go to school, but
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I mean, but what are you really going to do with a 16-year-old? It's not like my 5-year-old that I can pick her up and put her in a car seat and say, "Hey, we have to
right.
go."
True.
Um, I'm not gonna, physically like drag her or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's, she says she's not going to school and we go back and forth. My option was to call the agency. They're like, well, we can't do this all the time. And I was like, I can't do this all the time either.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And were you able to keep in touch with her, or was it just better to not do that?
I asked the agency worker, if she had a phone, if she wanted to have contact, but I just never really heard back. So
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
assumption was that she probably just didn't want to. So um, she's always welcome to contact us or come visit if she
Hmm.
wanted to. But if she doesn't want to, I want to respect that too. So
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You're juggling a lot. You said you are working full time. You have littles, and you have a teenage adopted daughter, an older child as well. How do you manage everything? How do you handle everything without like being just completely crazy or exhausted all the time? Or are you? Just can you talk to us about that?
um, I'd say I don't know that I do handle it all the time. I just
Hmm.
um, there's a lot of I call it happy chaos. Our house is chaotic. And
Hmm.
that's another reason I think not necessarily every kiddo would want to necessarily be there, with the littles and all the chaos. Um, we do have our version of structure that does help. So all the kids know Sunday morning we're going to go to church, and they know, Thursday afternoons they're going to have dance, and
Hmm.
they know the schedule as well as possible.
Right.
Um, so that helps. Um, it gets more difficult when there are more activities in the loop, but
Hmm.
um, but I would also point out that I'm not a single parent, and my husband is very helpful. He does a lot of the transportation after work, and so kind of
Hmm.
dividing and conquering has been the case.
Hmm.
And he does a lot of the cooking, and yeah, he does a lot to help.
That's
So
great.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And do you ever feel like because your child, your adopted child needs a lot of attention that do you ever feel bad of like, oh, but my littles need like all this attention in a different way, but I have to give so much attention to Mo. How does that feel? I mean, I'm just
yeah,
curious. Yeah.
yeah. I would say, yeah. I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of a guilty person by trade,
Mm,
but yeah. I mean, the littles need a lot of attention. Mo has separate teenager issues, and then Lillian, who is the 8.5-year-old, she has ADHD,
hmm.
um, and has an outburst, and so
Yep.
someone is always needing something. Um,
Yes.
Kind of the nature of kids, But I just try really hard to spend. I don't really do a lot of one-on-one time, but I'll make sure if I need to like run somewhere that I'll say, "Hey Mo, want to go for a ride with me?"
Hmm.
Um, and bring her, or some of them like with Grammy, my mom, she tries to kind of divide things too, and like have one at a time for a little bit, and so
Hmm.
that's helpful. Um, because
Yeah.
it is hard kind of being pulled in all the directions. It usually ends up like at night around 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock when I'm trying to put the littles to bed. Everyone
Yep.
is in our bed at some point, even though it's the teenager.
Yeah.
And so she's like, and that's when she'll start talking about her day more. And um, we try to eat meals together, but even that's hectic sometimes. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It is. I appreciate your honesty. It's challenging even for us, and we only have two, but my daughter is 10 with ADHD and autism, and my son is 4. He'll be 5 in July. And so that age difference is difficult too, because they're not going to the exact same activities and they're not even wanting to do the same things or play so
yeah,
it gets challenging. As he's getting a little bit older, it's starting to get a little bit easier, and like he used to really drive her crazy because he's so all over the place and like really really active, and she doesn't like the unpredictability of him and like where he is in space and if he's knocking down her thing that she's building or like whatever it is. As they're
hmm,
getting older, they're becoming they're playing more, which I really love, and I just want to see that continue. On this past Sunday, um, Joe and my husband and I actually got to take a short nap on the couch while the two of them played outside in the sprinkler, like in the yard. And we were just like, wow, that is something that has never happened. And that was exciting. I may have just lost you. Are you still there? I lost your picture. I don't know if you're still there. Oh, there you are. No, no problem. I can cut it out, not of the video, but I'll cut it out of the audio part. I usually don't touch the video because I just don't have time to like deal with editing video and stuff. Um, but Kat, it's been so great speaking with you. I'm gonna let you go. It seems like maybe your phone is telling you it's time to go.
oh, there. I'm so sorry.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's been wonderful talking with you. And I just want to say, like, you're doing a great job. You're doing a
Thank
great
you.
job, and you have nothing to feel guilty about. Like, honestly, like I get it and I get why you're saying that. And like but like you're doing the work. Your heart is in the right place. You're doing the work. You're educating yourself. I think, I don't know. I think you're doing a good job. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. I really
You
do
know?
appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
we
And I
could talk for
appreciate
hours.
I know, me too. And don't be a stranger. Let's stay in touch. And I think we need each other. I think it's important for people who are in this experience, who have traveled this road, to form connections and stay in touch because things get complicated. and things get complicated in everybody's life, especially when you're dealing with children who've come from trauma. It just, there's stuff. So please don't be a stranger. Reach out anytime. It's so great to talk to you. And shoot me that list of all your books, and we'll get it up there for people. And thank you. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you so much.
All right, I'm going to end the recording, but stick around for a minute.
Sure.